Folks, it is back. I am Zach McAdoo here for Burt Rubber Racing. I'm joined by Henry over there in the Kyle Larson shirt that I don't think I've seen since Watkins Glen. That's the new one, I believe, right? Or is that from this past weekend?
No, this is from the Glen. You saw it there. You're right. I had to rep Ross Chastain, though. You already know that when I was at Daytona. We needed that win. I'm not gonna lie, I was feeling pretty good. We hit that wall early, but man, the 42 car had me very excited right down to the final lap. What a race last week, huh? Exciting stuff.
Yeah, it was very nerve-wracking. I was
for you.
When I tell you, we always joke about my heart rate for how high it got. It was pretty high. But yeah, let's get into the race. It was Elliott won stage one. Logano took stage two. How are you feeling after the first two stages there?
You know, I found both of the first two stages entertaining. I don't know that I was necessarily expecting, like when I think who's going to go out and win a stage on a restrictor plate track, tapered engine spacer. I'm sorry, tapered engine spacer track, super speedway, whatever we want to call it here, Daytona International Speedway. Let's get specific for this one. I don't think I think of Chase Elliott. So that was interesting, to see him go out and grab a playoff point there in stage one. There were some Logano fans around me. There were also some Logano haters. That got a little tense when he lost a tire later in the race. But anyway, the one was very happy when he won stage two. And I think that stage two finish, it kind of brought to light some things we were talking about last week, right? How Penske's really good here. The Fords just kind of seem to know how to work together. And sure enough, Logano's right out there up in the front. And I know you really liked him last week. So through the first two stages, I would say the Coke Zero Sugar 400 was maybe more predictable than what was to follow in the final stage. Let's say that. Do you think that's a good takeaway?
Well, to a point, because then you had
high-tech analysis here.
After Ford all pitted, everything just kind of snowballed with Rick Ware Racing. What a surprise! They all get caught up in a wreck. Then we have Truex's big one, which that was the moment where it was nerve-wracking from then on, because my boy had the troubles. It happened again.
How does he do this?
We don't know. Do this? And how does the team do it? I mean, look at the car. Let's look at the. Okay, maybe not.
Okay, screen share time.
Yeah, maybe. Screen share. If we look here, look at this car. If it'll load. Look at this thing. Like, it's all caved in here. It's all taped up here. Like, there was a point where, like, they were worried about it leaking oil, and it still worked. How does this team know how to do this?
You know what? I have to give full props to you. You closed last week's show by showing me the car from the 500 that drove around without its hood for like the second half of the race or whatever it was. And you said, watch out, Reddick and this number 8 team, all hands on deck. They know how to persevere. They know how to endure. They know how to overcome adversity. And boy, did they have to do just that here at the end of this race too. I thought for sure, being there, seeing the smoke that was pouring out of that thing, I thought for sure the radiator was gone. Maybe they put it back out on the track, but there's no way it's hitting minimum speed or keeping up with a draft, right? Then we get the red flag. So you got Daniel Suarez, and, there were a couple other cars. I forget who was caught up in that wreck there specifically. But you got them sitting on pit road, right? So you're under red flag. You can't work on the cars. But when you're on pit road, at least you can walk around the car, kind of assess what's going on and prepare to go right to work as soon as the caution flies and, the cars start moving out on the track again, right? Reddick's stuck on the backstretch because he had to leave pit road to avoid going a lap down. The number 8 car pitted 3 separate times. They made quick adjustments, kept him on the lead lap the entire time. And then, oh, by the way, we'll get to this, the final laps here in a second, but he stays on the lead lap and he scores a top 5 finish. Are you kidding me? I didn't even think that car was going to be able to run to the end of the race, and he scores a top 5 finish. And I mean, you got the hat on another week. He's playoff racing, and he didn't have to eat it because Quinn Houff didn't win. So
I forgot all about that. I said that watch out for this 8 team because if he does get damaged, but
you nailed it, 100%.
Immediately, when I tell you my heart sank when I saw Reddick make contact with Truex, I was down. It's like that's it right there, boys. But I don't know how the team repaired that car. I don't know. It's a miracle, really. But he's in now. Well, we kind of spoiled it. Let
me ask you, just from the fan perspective in you, were you a little nervous even back in stage one? Just that he, we talked last week and you were like, all he's got to do is stay right behind Austin Dillon. Doesn't matter where they are in the pack. Reddick just has to be behind Dillon. He wasn't staying close with Dillon early in this race. And that stood out to me. I don't know. Were you like even nervous before that, or were you feeling pretty good up until, holy shit, his radiator might be gone here?
Well, for the first stage, Dillon got 7 points. I think it was 7 or 5, something. And I was like, okay, it's not too bad. He didn't win a stage. We're good. And then the second stage, Dillon finishes second, and Reddick finishes. He got points. I don't remember how many points, but it was significant to the point where, okay, now we have to wait. And I think it was 18 points before the end of the third stage. At the end of the second stage, I think. So that was the point where it's like, okay, we should be good unless something happens. And I thought
stuff happened.
Yeah, stuff happened.
And you're still good.
Yeah. So
unreal, man.
So back to my heart rate. I had my heart rate tracker at the bar that I was watching it at. So yeah, that's another thing. I had no idea what was going on with Reddick's car. I'm just asking my friends, is he good? Is he out? What's going on? And so yeah. But anyways, back to my heart rate. With 10 laps to go, right before the Chase Elliott wreck, I think it was 133 beats per minute. Yeah.
That's higher than the 500, if I remember correctly. I think we were at 124, 125?
Something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think so. I wasn't wearing a monitor. I still don't have one. I'm cheap. Sorry.
Neither do I.
My brother actually took a video of me. Apparently, my leg did not stop shaking the entire race. My voice was hoarse the next day. The guy next to me was a riot. So it was a good time. But anyway, let's not reminisce on the things I did as a fan. So.
My legs were going numb. I was so nervous to not get a new winner. 5 laps to go now. 147.
Huh.
And that's
more than a warm up for me. Woo.
That's not the highest it's ever been for a sporting event. I kid you not.
Jogging territory for old Henry here.
But yeah, then we had the Maddie B and Chase Elliott wreck, and my bartender said it was on Maddie B. I was like,
what?
No, you're not. Chase mistimed it horribly.
Yeah, this isn't exactly the first poor blocking move that we've seen Chase Elliott make on a super speedway either. Sorry to all of his fans. It really, when you're at the track, it feels like it's 50% of NASCAR universe. They'll probably pull us off and cancel the show and whatever. But I'm just saying, I was a little surprised to see him win stage one. He ran well. He's there at the end of this thing. But it was clear as day that was a awful move on his part. The first block was fine. The second block, not so much. And, you feel for a guy like Maddie B in that position too. He needs to go win this race, and he's doing his thing on the super speedway like we know he can. And he gets caught up in it as well. So, yeah. Just
Maddie B had nowhere to go. He couldn't stop. He had Hamilton all over his back bumper. There was nothing he could have done. It's just a poor situation for him, and Chase Elliott wouldn't let it go. So then we go to overtime. What were you thinking when overtime started here? Were you nervous or?
I was excited for overtime because I didn't like where Chastain was running on the outside. He was kind of stuck in the wall before that Elliott and the Benedetto wreck, and he wouldn't have been able to make progress. So, once we have to re-rack, I'm like, all right, now we got a better chance here. And then Ryan Blaney, I'll say it right now. He's obviously he won back-to-back weeks. Ryan Blaney, Coke Zero Sugar 400 winner, stealing Zach's thunder here, giving out the winner before we get to the end of the race. But, he got out to the big lead off the restart, and he did a great job blocking. again, these Penske Fords, they know how to run on these super speedways. And at that point, I was just hoping for a new winner, kind of like I said all along. Once it became apparent Chastain wasn't going to get there. So, I was kind of pulling for Buescher a little bit. And, man, Corey LaJoie was running up there. So Corey LaJoie had me pretty hyped as well. But, I have to back up for a second here, too. Had the Truex wreck not occurred, right? The Fords had already pitted. Tires weren't a big deal in this race, but the Chevys and Toyotas still needed to come for fuel.
No, I think they already pitted before then. Because they pitted after the Rick Ware wreck.
What was it? The Rick Ware wreck. Yeah, that was it. All right. There were 4 wrecks. I'm sorry. The first of the 4, the Rick Ware wreck, 18 to go or whatever it was. We knew they still needed to pit, right? They had stayed out, and they had a bigger pack. The Fords were terribly disorganized getting off pit road. Keselowski and Briscoe actually got lapped. That pack was gaining on the lead lap Fords. So if they had stretched that to the end and then pitted, I don't think we have a Ford winning this race, whether it's Blaney or anyone else. I think Ford's.
We never know. We won't know because we don't know what wreck's going to happen.
That's where I saw this going. They were playing the strategy correctly. They were running it to the end. They had a bigger pack. They were gaining on the smaller pack of Fords who did an awful job. And I don't know why they pitted that early to begin with.
Because it would have let them go to the end. That was the first lap, I think.
But if a caution comes out, it's like, okay, why did you do that?
Because then they get to the front.
I don't know.
It worked out in their favor.
It worked out in their favor, but had Chevy and Toyota pitted, then it's a completely different ball game. So I get both sides of it here, but had that wreck not happened and they had been able to run it down to the end and continue gaining, there's no shot a Ford wins this race. Like, tell me I'm wrong.
You never know. Anything could have happened. We've seen miracles before. But okay, let's get to the end of the race now. I think we're going over on this. Then we get to the final lap. Blaney gets out to a huge lead. I was nervous on the restart because I didn't want to see a new winner. I was like, please, Blaney, just get out to the front. Oh
yeah, I forgot you're a Reddick fan. Sorry.
Look at the hat there, bud. Look at the hat.
Had Corey LaJoie won the race, you would have been just fine. But anyway, continue.
I would have been like, are you freaking kidding me? Because that was my long shot pick. I kid you not. Go look at the show I was on Saturday. I said Corey LaJoie is my long shot pick at 80-1.
I believe you. We talked about him on here last week a little bit.
Yeah. And so anyways, back the race. Blaney gets out to the lead. Harvick gets a huge run. And for the first time that I can remember being a Harvick fan, he's got a legitimate shot at winning a plate race or tapered spacer race. And then Kurt Busch mistimes his move, spins Suarez, who gets into Harvick, and it all goes south. A lot of cars involved. Reddick gets by. That's why he got 5th. That coupled with Buescher's disqualification. I mean, a big wreck to end the race. That's just Daytona at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to share my screen just because of time's sake, but we're a podcast here, so most people aren't going to be able to see it on the audio version. Anyway, if you ever want to check out the video version, Flurry Sports YouTube is where you can find it archived. But my new desktop background is now that last lap wreck, just because I found a great shot of it and it looks really cool. Under the lights, doesn't get much better than that. I have to, give a little shout out here. I think once again, we talked about it a little bit last week to NASCAR for moving this race at Daytona as the final regular season race before the playoffs, the cutoff race. Chaos, right? So many different guys that could have won. When we're talking about Corey LaJoie having a shot to win the last race of the regular season and make the playoffs, that's what you want. Like that, genius move. I know traditionalists, whatever. I love the move. And then, like you said, look at these guys who finished in the top 10. Chris Buescher disqualified, so, we can't count him. So that gives Bubba Wallace 2nd. Ryan Newman winds up 3rd. Ryan Preece, Reddick, Justin Haley, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, BJ McLeod, Josh Bilicki.
Who's a Rick Ware racing driver.
what were the odds on BJ McLeod and Josh Bilicki to finish top 10 last week? We didn't even discuss those. We looked at the top 20s really quick, and we were saying how you had to lay on everyone outside of like Rick Ware and, you know, the BJ McLeods of the world for a top 20. They were plus money for a top 20. They're in the top 10. BJ McLeod, Live Fast Motorsports, had a tweet on their top 10 finish. It got over 1,000 likes. Good stuff.
Yeah, that's just gonna help their teams going forward, and I think NASCAR needs that.
And I passed the number 52 truck driving down. I thought it was a little late for them to be getting in because it was Friday when I was getting into Florida. But yeah, so I went by Josh Bilicki's car on the highway, so that was cool.
I mean, they don't need to get.
Baby.
There's no track time until Saturday, so they don't need to be there until Saturday morning.
Yeah,
we were at Watkins Glen. They didn't get the Cup cars didn't get it there until what, Saturday, I think.
I think I was paying attention.
Oh no, you just slept. Okay, but here are the standings after Daytona.
Ran 4 miles, more like it, but
yeah. He did. I gotta give him that. He did. Okay.
What are the standings, Zach? Come on.
Standings after Daytona. Kyle Larson was your regular season winner. He held off Denny Hamlin. He gets the extra 15 points. He will start with 20.52. Then we have Ryan Blaney, who has won the last 2 races to get him up to 20.24. He will be tied with Martin Truex Jr. for a second going into the playoffs. Then we have Kyle Busch with 2022, Chase Elliott with 2021, Alex Bowman 2015, with Denny Hamlin with 2015. Byron 2014, Joey Logano 2013, Brad Keselowski with 2008, Kurt Busch with 2008, and as of right now, Christopher Bell would be in with the cutoff line with 2005. He is also tied with Michael McDowell and Eric Almirola. And then the last 2, Tyler Reddick with 2003 and Kevin Harvick with 2002. If you would have told me a year ago that Kevin Harvick would come into the playoffs looking like that, I would have said you're high or something. I would have thought, no way. No wins, no stage wins. He gets in with 2 points.
Well, yeah, there's a lot to take away from this. So 3 drivers in this field have no goose eggs in their column for wins. And like you said, Kevin Harvick's one. And on top of that, Denny Hamlin is another. Are you kidding me? Like, these guys won, 17 races combined last year? Absolutely insane, the flip we've seen. Blaney and Truex and Bowman each now 3 wins on the season after Blaney's wins, I should say, here the last 2 weeks. So they finished tied for second behind Kyle Larson's 5. I mean, looking at this, my takeaway is obviously Kyle Larson practically already into the round of 12, it feels like, right? He's got a almost 30-point cushion over the second-place drivers in the points. Entering the playoffs, that's where all those playoff points, those stage wins, those stage points, whatever, come in handy. He's got a sizable lead. He could practically take this first round off and he'll still be fine. Now, he obviously won't want to do that because every point he earns here in the first round is just going to propel him closer to the championship 4. But that lead is noteworthy for sure. It hurts Denny Hamlin, like you said, Kyle Larson winning the regular season points championship because Denny Hamlin really could have used those points. Now, instead, he's back in the pack, kind of mired, tied with Bowman at 2015. And then I don't know. I look at the lineup here and just the fact that all of the Hendrick cars are in the top 8 in points entering this thing. Things could get very interesting in those shops, I feel like, going forward here. I don't think any of them are candidates in my mind to be eliminated in the first round. Now, maybe you're different. But yeah, Hendrick is looking strong coming into this thing.
I'm not giving any of my my picks away for my playoff grid. You can go read it on FloreySports.org. But
it's a good article.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good idea.
You got the pre-playoff championship odds there too. I have one question for you. So Christopher Bell obviously is the noteworthy one because he's tied with McDowell and Almirola 12 through 14, and the first cutoff is 12. What is the tiebreaker in that scenario for him?
So if they stay tied throughout the whole round, it will go back to their highest finish in that round. So
in the round, yeah.
So if
but
Bell
right
finishes,
now coming in,
it doesn't matter what they're coming in. It's just from Darlington, Darlington, Richmond, Bristol.
Okay, so if two drivers are tied, say, in points after this round, and I don't know, McDowell and Almirola, they both have a fifth place finish is the best finish. What's the next tiebreaker? Do you know that? Or
their second highest finish in the round.
Second highest finish. So it's just like the regular season point standings. So there we go. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's how it all works. But
good for the people too to hear this stuff.
You people. I'm sorry.
We're men of the people.
Yeah, we try to be at least. Okay. Now, were you there for the Xfinity Series race, or were they not let you in that early?
I was. Where was I Saturday? I wasn't there. It was supposed to be Friday night. Friday, I was drinking Japanese beer at a hibachi place, and the chef was lame.
Osaki?
Saturday, I'm blanking. Oh, Saturday we were lifting 1,000 pounds, my brother and I. But yeah,
show off. Okay, but anyways, where is it? So you didn't get to see
on Facebook for the vids if you dare. They'll go up this weekend.
You didn't see Garland absolutely dominate the Xfinity Series race. I
didn't.
They won both the first two stages, and then they didn't sweep the top three spots, I don't think, but they ended up getting 1, 2, 4. Allmendinger, I thought he had it. He didn't time his block right. Justin Haley gets the win, his first of the year, and now Colleague they've got all the three of their drivers with a win now.
Yeah, we said back one of the early shows, we were like, do we think all three Colleague drivers in the Xfinity Series can get a win? They have finally done that. I don't think either of us thought that Justin Haley would be the last one to do it, but he knows how to run these plate tracks, obviously. He goes out and gets 7th in the Cup race on Sunday, or Saturday night, I guess it was, too. Was it early Sunday when the thing ended? I can't remember. And then you got Dinger picking up the win at the road course in the Cup Series. So Colleague Racing, man, they are here to stay. You and I are both big fans. I'm looking forward to seeing them at the Cup level next year. Justin Haley obviously going to be that full-time ride. So kind of a showcase weekend for him. Yeah,
I mean, you go even a lot of people are saying this is the team to beat when it hit these restrictor plate tracks, taper space, or whatever you call it. This is DEI of the early 2000s.
You could make that argument. I think I want to see how they do at the Cup level too, when they get a couple cars up there maybe, and see if they can transfer that success over. That'll be interesting to watch. But by everything I've seen from the highlights, I didn't get a chance to go back and watch the full race, but they put on a clinic Saturday afternoon at Daytona. So, and then obviously Jeb Burton getting the win at Talladega earlier this year too. So
yeah,
rain shortened, but I mean, he was looking really strong there, rain or not. So
yeah, it wasn't what we wanted to see. We always like to see a full race, but it is what it is. So, you want to get in some news and notes here?
Yeah, I suppose we could do that. And that about that portion of the show. We didn't have IndyCar this weekend. They're also not running this coming weekend.
September 12th is their next race.
On a Friday. But they will be back in action.
Week too.
The trucks were off as well. But they're back at Darlington this week. Race number 2 of their playoffs. That was the other thing I wanted to say real quick. Xfinity Series playoffs are not started yet.
They will start after Bristol, I think.
Yeah, they've got a couple, I think, 2 more regular season races. You're right. So just
3.
Bear that in mind. There's still a points battle going on there. Maybe we can jump into that a little more next week. But.
Yeah. So, our news and notes. We have Kevin Harvick. He's a new sponsor. I didn't know Jimmy John's left SHR.
I didn't know you quit Jimmy John's.
They're not a sponsor anymore. I'm not going to stick around. Subway.
Did you give them 2 weeks, or did you just walk out?
I quit when they ended their sponsorship. How about that? So
okay, right.
Subway is now a new Kevin Harvick sponsor. They will be on the car at some point. I forget what races they'll be on the car, but they'll be on the car this year and going forward.
I just have to say Jersey Mike's is better than both Jimmy John's and Subway. And Subway really, it's all bread, no meat. So, good for Kevin Harvick. He gets a prime sponsorship deal there going forward. But, yeah, it's not going to make me go to Subway anymore in the near future.
No, not really. But what's weird is I've actually been looking up Cheddar's Scratch Kitchen to see what the nearest one is to me, just because he sponsors Tyler Reddick.
There was one right across from the track down in Florida, and I almost tried to get them to go eat there after the race, but it was late, and I was pretty tired. So
it was like 11 when the race ended. Like the bartender's trying to shut.
It's like scratch food. I don't know how that works. I've never been to one, but there was one right there, and I thought that was wild. That after
it is called Cheddar's Scratch Kitchen, so that makes sense. But what the hell is scratch food?
I didn't know it was Scratch Kitchen until I saw the restaurant. Okay.
Can you not read the hood?
No, I just see Cheddar's, and then usually Reddick's hood is either all tape or not on the car by the end of the race. So, but
that's only at Daytona. That is only at Daytona.
I have no shots left to fire. What else we got?
We're gonna go skip down to the one that we have in a second. We're gonna go talk about Eric Jones. He's got an extension with RPM. I think it said it was a multi-year deal. Don't quote me on that, but he's at least in the car for 2022. I think he's earned it. I think he's done very well for the 43 team. Maybe not what we expected, but it's still a building relationship.
Do you like this move going forward? Do you think maybe I should rephrase that? Do you like the move for Eric Jones? Do you like the move for Richard Petty Motorsports? Is it a mutually beneficial relationship, you think, here? Or what are your thoughts on it? I mean, obviously, it's been not exactly a great season in terms of results, but this is the first one together, no practice, etc. So I don't know. What do you think of it?
I like Eric. I do.
You too.
As far as I want to see more, I want to see better results. Richard wants to give him one more year. See, because not that this matters, but this is the first year that Eric has driven a Chevy.
Mm-hmm.
He's driven Fords for the past however many years, so maybe there's a learning curve with Chevy. I don't know. I mean, we saw SHR. Harvick had 5 wins in 2016. The next year he had 2 when they switched to Ford. So maybe there's something there. I don't know.
I don't think this is endgame though for Eric Jones. Like I think he'll find his way back into shall we call it a more, what's the right word?
A better ride.
More well financed ride in the future. He's too talented not to.
Yeah, it was just. Did you know that JGR replaced Eric Jones with an older driver?
Is Seabell older than him?
Yeah, I didn't know that until my brother told me that.
I did not know that. That's funny.
Yeah. So now we get to some darker news. Not really darker. Well, the first one's not as dark, but the second one, JT Doherty, owner of the 37 and 47 car. Unfortunately, they will be going down to a 1-car team next year. We don't know who they're gonna keep, or if they don't even keep either one of them. But they will be going down to a 1-car team to, in Brad Doherty's words, to make them look stronger, put all the financial stability in 1 car, which that makes sense. I think 1 car for them. They are a strong team, and it sucks for. I don't want to speculate who I think is out of a ride, but it sucks for one of them. And
yeah, I mean, we always like to have, I feel like, more charters, more drivers, more cars for any race. I think you and I are both kind of in the same boat there. I still remember back when it was 43 cars every race. So it's a little weird now with like 36 on some weeks. Like that seems a little light.
It's 37 this week on the qualifying list.
Yeah.
And we
had 40 last week. So, but
yeah, this is a crown jewel race. It should be 40. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, going to a new car next year, maybe that number will go back up here a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see what all comes of this, who signs where. Obviously, there's still potential talk that Colleague is going to do a second Cup team, as far as I'm aware. And then you've also got GMS. We don't know their plans for the Cup level yet as far as next year goes. So whoever is out, the odd man out here with JTG, hopefully they can land on their feet and still be full-time Cup next year, because I like both of these drivers. I know you and I disagree on which one we like more in the JTG camp, but I think you and I are both fans of both guys overall. So
yeah, it sucks for one of these guys, and who knows it? But maybe JTG decides they don't want either one of them. I think they'll keep one of them, but we don't know. All we know is that JTG going down to one car next year for 2022.
And I will add, just onto your point, that I like the move for the organization. Just given that Ricky Stenhouse has been a contender, obviously this year the gap was a little misleading, I think, compared to how some of those guys ran. But you get some extra resources under one hood going forward, and I think that puts them really into the top 17, 16 teams in the series as it stands now. So I think from that point of view, it is a smart business decision.
I mean, I don't remember how many weeks ago I said this, but I'm pretty sure I said one car will run great one week and then falter. The one will falter
Literally.
1 week and then go and then finish great. That's how it feels with this team, and I feel this is the right move for them, unfortunately, but it still sucks.
Yeah.
Now on to even worse news. Denny Hamlin.
You're doing this to me, you Debbie Downer. Come on. Every week with you.
Well,
Spill the beans. What do we got? If
Denny Hamlin didn't, we don't know what he did, but there's speculation we know what he did. I say speculation a lot on this show, apparently. Jeez. But
what's your favorite word?
Jordan Fish, his ex-girlfriend, ex-wife. No one knows apparently if they were married or not. I don't think they were. But she sent out 2 tweets. I will read them because I'm pretty sure I still have them on my phone. You want to say something while I find these tweets?
Yeah, I can read the tweets. I have them right here if you want to go digging for them. But
I got them right here.
So, to your point, they aren't married, but boyfriend, girlfriend. They've got a couple of children together, I believe. And of course, Jordan Fish is in the fashion industry, entrepreneur. I don't know.
Quit reading your bio.
So yeah, but anyway,
right.
they have 2 daughters together, and not exactly the kind of thing you're looking for in a loving, healthy relationship. It appears this one might be headed down the drain. But what are the tweets here?
Appears. Okay. Here are the tweets before.
I don't want to speculate or anything, so
I'll just go ahead and say after the tweets. I have been quiet for far too long. I have endured things no one person should ever have to endure, and today was no exception. At Daytona Hamlin, I hope everyone will finally see you for the person you truly are. 6 minutes later, she then sends this tweet out. Myself and our children deserve better than what you have given. I cannot believe I ever thought of someone like you could change, because you cannot. You have a long road ahead of you, and one I graciously no longer will be a part of. Have a great life, at Denny Hamlin. We don't know what that means. People reply and saying they think that the rumor of the 2018 where Denny had a prostitute is true and was cheating on her. We don't know.
Yeah. So just some other things. This is from a New York Post article. Again, I'm not speculating. I'm just reading what's in the article here.
Give me the facts.
It acknowledges that Denny Hamlin has numerous pictures of the couple's daughters on his Instagram account. Rarely, if ever, shares any photos of him with his, now it appears, ex-girlfriend, Jordan Fish. And then the other thing, he has not acknowledged the tweets yet. I also saw, this was a different source, that Fish has, it looks like, deleted her Twitter and her Instagram has switched to private in the aftermath of these tweets. So drama.
I don't blame her for nuking her Twitter, because I'm sure there's so many Denny Hamlin fans who are like, oh, you're just going after her for dumb stuff like this. And so it makes perfect sense. Hopefully they have something. We'll let the courts decide it, because, well, what the hell do we know?
Don't be a dick is basically the moral of the story, guys. Like, don't cheat. I mean, and girls too. Don't cheat. Be loyal. Come on.
Okay, that's the front one. The back one is, don't go after your favorite driver's exes. That's kind of weird too, and it's also messed up. Why would you? Like, I could go on do another video, and I don't care. We can go over time with this. Why would you ever go after an athlete's significant other? It's beyond me. Like, leave them the fuck out of it. Excuse my language, but damn.
Well, we have the little E, so we're good.
You know, it just probably threw away me ever getting hired by
I feel like it's commonplace this day and age. I think you're fine. Yeah, I mean, why would you go after anyone's significant other? Like, that's, I mean, for people for I guess someone like me, I'm not going to speak for Zach, but who tries to live, according to the Bible when I can, as best I can. You just don't do that. So it's kind of surreal, I think, for me to read about and kind of obviously non-directly witness all of this unfold here this week. And at the race last week, they're doing the pre-race, festivities, and they're showing different drivers on the big screen and whatever, waiting by their cars. Might have been before the anthem, I think. Something was going on. It wasn't during the anthem. But they panned to Corey LaJoy. He's next to his, I'm assuming he's married. I don't know the relationship status of all the drivers off the top of my head, but assuming it's his wife. And, he notices he's on the camera and leans in and nudges her. And, they have, so just sucks. You hate to, you don't wish it on anyone, but at the same time, do better. That's all I can say.
Yeah. So now that we got that out of the way,
no one is above the law. Just remember that.
Now that we get that
moral code.
You gonna cut me off again?
Now that we got that out of the way.
Thanks, Dick. By the way,
everyone, Zach was right. Key lime pie bangs, pretty good.
Oh, remind me you just said that, because I got something I'm gonna try later, but I don't want to say it on air. By the way, I'm probably also going to get a text from my grandma for saying the F word, so I haven't got it yet, but it's coming, I bet. So,
wow.
Do we want to talk about the Southern 500 this week, or just skip it?
I mean, it is a crown jewel. It's the first playoff race. It's the 72nd running, the Cookout Southern 500, Darlington Raceway.
It used to be the Mountain Dew 7500.
It's the oldest super speedway on the circuit. We got to talk about it.
Good. I was hoping you'd say
that. And because we're recording on Friday, I already handicapped it. I can sit here and talk betting with you for hours if you want. So
I think both are. This is the first time.
I'm locked and loaded.
This is like the first time both of us are actually ready for this, because usually we're filming before we do our articles. We're still scrambling to put everything together. Like, this is probably perfect.
We're in postseason form, man. The playoffs are here. Let's do it.
Okay, well, we'll start out with my overview. Darlington Raceway was built in 1950. It's a 1.366 mile track because they had to avoid a minnow pond in one of the turns. So it's kind of got an egg shape because one of the turns 1 and 2, are wider, should I say, than turns 3 and 4. It's a very tough track to set up for, because obviously for the two sides.
The track too tough to tame.
The lady in black. We have our very famous Darlington Stripes. Do you want to tell them about the Darlington Stripe there, Henry?
Yeah, so because Darlington Raceway is so tough to nail a setup, for both ends of the track, you're going to see some cars, probably lose control, maybe get up into the wall a little bit Sunday night here in the Southern 500. And the Darlington Stripe is famous for every Darlington race. Those cars will brush up on the wall there when they lose control or run the high line, preferred. They'll trade some paint with the wall at Darlington Raceway, and it'll leave a nice little stripe on the car. So not necessarily a bad thing. Like cars have won the race with a Darlington stripe on them, but it's just part of the nature of the track. So part of the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
Surface eats the tires too. Tire management.
It's one of those. It's up there with Miami and Atlanta for how bad tires get here. In the spring, we had Martin Truex Jr. win after absolutely dominating, old ass whipping, whatever he said. Kyle Larson finished second.
All about that line.
Did you? Yeah, I just thought about it now because it's like, wait a minute, wasn't that the ass whipping?
Yep.
Yeah,
you won the race. That's an ass whipping right there.
That's why I got my little stress ball out.
I forgot all about that.
You didn't get one of these, did you? You went for the tire pen.
I went for the tire pen. Yeah. Something I can use.
Well, I can use the stress ball or stress tire.
Yeah. I handle my stress at the gym, so I'm good.
I need one. Trust me, I need one of these. I'll tell you that later. But yeah, that was the Goodyear 400. I forgot what the name was. Back on Mother's Day, back in May. So, our racing schedule this week: we have the Xfinity Series tomorrow, or maybe today if you're listening on Saturday, at 3:30 at NBCSN. Sunday we have the Truck Series, who were originally supposed to race up north in Canada, but due to circumstances, still with COVID, they are coming back to Darlington. Doesn't break my heart at all. I'd rather see them at Darlington than Canadian Tire. But they will be racing Sunday at 1:30 on FS1, and then we have the Crown Jewel, the Southern 500 on NBCSN. Why is not NBC? I will never know. At 6 o'clock.
I was going to ask you that. That's ridiculous, but okay.
I mean, I'll look up what's on NBC, but I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, come on. Especially with it being a playoff race now. Ridiculous.
Yeah, which to Zach's point, so all three National Series in action, the Trucks and the Cup, those are both playoff races. So 2 times the playoff action, 2 times the fun. Sunday afternoon and night. Darlington, South Carolina.
NBC,
you want me to jump into some driver stats here while you're...
Yeah.
All right. So, they call it the track too tough to tame here, Darlington Raceway, but a couple of drivers, they've done a pretty decent job of actually taming this place, or maybe they just don't butcher it as bad as the rest of them. I don't know. You can decide that for yourself. Kevin Harvick doesn't get any better than him. When it comes to Darlington, Zach, I'm sure, is well aware of this, being the Harvick fan that he is. The last 10 races at Darlington, Kevin Harvick has finished no worse than 9th. An astounding average finish of 3.6, 3 wins. 2 of them came in the 3 races run here last year. And even as that team has not won a race this year, Stewart Haas Racing struggling across the board, he still managed to finish 6th in the Goodyear, a.k.a. Rebel 400. Back this spring. When it comes to conserving the tires and just, overall getting around this weirdly egg-shaped track, Kevin Harvick does it better than anyone. Running down some other average finishes here. Kyle Larson, sample size only 7 races as he missed the 3 last year. Average finish, though, 6.0. He has got 4 top 5s in there. 6 of those 7 are top 10s. And he has been top 3 in each of his last 3 starts at Darlington. Runner-up here this spring. Eric Jones, average finish to 7.0 over his 7 career Cup starts. He does have a win in there. He has got 4 top 5s, 6 top 10s. Was 18th here in the spring, though. That was his first race driving for Richard Petty Motorsports. So some weaker equipment there for him, obviously, than he had at JGR. Kyle Busch, 7.4. Denny Hamlin, 9.0. Brad Keselowski, 10.1. And the spring winner, Martin Truex Jr., 11.0. All of those drivers have wins in the last 10. Hamlin and Truex have 2 apiece. And, of course, Truex is the last man to win at Darlington after that good old-fashioned ass-whooping or whatever it was. Although I will say Kyle Larson's name was in there right behind Kevin Harvick in terms of average finish. If the spring race was 500 miles as Sunday's Cookout Southern 500 was, and we're assuming caution-free the rest of the way, Kyle Larson would have won that race, not Martin Truex. So
Perhaps.
just keep that in mind.
He would have had to pit at least one more time, you'd think, right?
And after that good old-fashioned ass-whooping, maybe Martin Truex jinxed himself because that 19 team has not been the same since. So we'll see if they can get back on track.
Let's keep it that way. Let's keep it that way.
Hey,
so, NBC is showing
a picture of him right here on my. Go ahead.
That's toilet paper. But anyways, so NBC is showing the Paralympics instead of the race, and that makes sense. I think.
No.
I knew you'd say that because you
crown jewel.
You're not an Olympic guy, though. I mean,
it's a crown jewel. Not this year. Usually, I am. Not this year. We don't need to talk about that. We're not going there.
Yeah, we're not Olympic podcast, but
staying happy today. Let's move on.
You don't have your stress ball.
Any other drivers or anyone in there that you want to talk more about, or anyone else you're curious as to their average finish? While I got the list up here.
No, I think we're good. I think the DFS.
DFS, let's do it. FanDuel DFS.
So
I've even got the pricing up this week. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to help you with the discussion. Let's do this.
Okay, then. What's Kyle Larson's
Fire
price?
it up. What's up?
What's Kyle Larson's price?
Kyle Larson, he is the highest priced driver this week at $14,000. FanDuel NASCAR DFS salary. Would you like me to read off some more pricings, or are you taking it from here?
I'll take it from here. Yeah, I was testing it. So I have Kyle Larson. You have to put him in there. What the hell was that?
Testing me? You didn't think I had it up?
Yeah, you could have lied to me.
Unbelievable.
You wouldn't be the first person. So, Kyle Larson, I have who you should have in your FanDuel lineup. Your value play this week, Eric Jones, a guy who won here 2 years ago, who just got his contract extension. That's not a good look, by the way.
Are you hosting the show or not?
Hold on. Yes, Eric Jones is still a good driver here at Darlington, despite driving for the 43. Now, you can read my other 2 picks for when the article comes out tomorrow, I'm guessing, at some point. But now we get to the bad side of people you don't want to have in there. How about Ryan Blaney? He's not a good. He has never raced well here at Darlington. Yes, he's won the last 2 races, but
Uncle Mo, man, you sure?
Uncle Mo,
Uncle Momentum.
Oh, yeah. His average finish is 19th. At Darlington. Is that something you really want, especially for a guy who's going to be starting 3rd? Something he's up. He's definitely up there.
He's on the pole.
Oh, he's on the pole. So yeah, that's even worse. I think he's going to lose spots. This is not his track. Avoid him for this week. Who else do I pick out of this? You know something? We'll go Maddie D, because he has more of a sample size. Maddie D, I don't like him. He starts 30th, which yes, it's an opportunity for him to gain spots, but that also means he could wreck, because this is a very narrow track. I think Henry will agree with me there. Very narrow. He has a 20.8 average finish here. It's just something you don't want to see out of a guy who is going to be in your FanDuel lineup. I mean, he's fairly cheap, but I'd still look elsewhere.
Yeah, so just to follow up on the value play, Eric Jones, last 3 finishes 7th, 18th, and 12th. So, for that team, not too shabby. I think they can better their 18th place run they had here in the spring. And at that price, I think you definitely want to include him.
What's his price? I
They're
don't think it's his price.
5,800.
Thank you.
All. That's some solid value there. One other guy I wanted to ask you about, just kind of on principle here, was Ryan Newman. Average finish of 13.4. The last 10 races at Darlington, top 10 here in the spring. He's been top 15 each of the last 4 starts. I mean, that 6 team has been terrible, it seems like, for most of the year. And then they go out last week and wind up third after surviving at Daytona. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on the 6? Because that could be, I feel like, another option people are looking at as a value play. He's only 5,000.
So Daytona's an anomaly. Let's get that out of there, because, and like I said, anyone can win a lot. Like, you had a lot of contenders taken out in wrecks. So a third at Daytona for that team, it's like, okay.
But it's a little boost, you know.
Yeah, but I wouldn't think Newman would be a bad pick this week. I mean, that 6 team definitely has something there. Newman's trying to secure a ride for next season, because
we think, we don't want to speculate, but we think
he's got nothing according to everyone. Everyone said
he might be retiring too. So
yeah, but
he does have a part-time ride with RFR, at the worst case.
Yeah, but who knows him?
Thunder.
Yeah, I just ruined what I just said.
Not the worst choice in the world, basically. You're saying?
No, there are definitely some worse choices out there.
Stop.
So, is it betting time?
I think it's betting time as long as you're good on DFS. I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, here we go. Mr. Kyle
You need to ask
Larson.
me the questions this week.
Mr. Kyle Larson is your favorite at plus 300, followed by Martin Truex Jr. with a plus 500. Kyle Busch coming in at plus 600. Denny at 7-1. Chase Elliott at plus 850. Kevin Harvick, Mr. Where did he come from? 10-1. Yeah, that surprised me too. Who do you like out of that one for value?
You know, it doesn't surprise me because I don't think Kevin Harvick would have odds that short at any other track. But his history here at Darlington has got him in that pool of favorites, 10-1 to win outright or shorter. You know, I'm going to just go full on McAdoo here. My betting article will be coming out probably tomorrow over on flurrysports.org. So you can definitely read up more on the picks I share here and others. But it's right on the shirt, man. Kyle Larson. I don't know what other way I tried to find a better value pick. And, you know, went through handicapping the race here this afternoon while I was writing stuff, and I got nothing. So talking about the setup they run here at Darlington in terms of the package, it's the one that Chevy and Toyota have been a lot better in compared to Ford this season. And that gives me even more pause on saying, you know, I'd rather go with Kevin Harvick at 10-1 to win this thing. Kevin Harvick is involved in my arsenal of plays this week, but it's more on the conservative side just because Ford has struggled in this package. And, oh, by the way, SHR has struggled across the board. So I like Kyle Larson. And I think the odds, you know, you listed off those favorites, they kind of speak for themselves. It's very Hendrick and Joe Gibbs top heavy this week. And you go back to that spring race, 6 of the top 7, I believe it was, were those teams. So.
And by the way, for listeners, this is being recorded Friday. So when we say tomorrow, we mean Saturday. We need to, just for clarification, so we don't miss our articles. We need the views. So after Harvick, we have William Byron at 12-1, Joey Logano 15-1, Bowman 18-1, Keselowski 18-1, Blaney, a surprise to me, at 20-1, probably because he's got the momentum. Kurt Busch 28-1, Tyler Reddick and Christopher Bell at 30-1. Is there like an underdog there you like?
Yeah, so I'm not opposed to looking at Chase Elliott. I should say this, plus 850, 9-1 range, depending on where you're shop. I like the value there. I think if Larson has issues, I would want to have another Hendrick guy maybe sprinkled on an outright win. And I think Elliott would be the preferred one there. In terms of these guys that you just mentioned, I'm high on Byron this week. He has 2 top 5s his last 2 starts at Darlington and was 4th there in the spring. But in terms of looking for more value, Tyler Reddick, we're looking at 30-1 here. I like that price. I do. He knows how to run the high line. When we talk about guys who know how to run the high line, right? It's Kyle Larson. It's Tyler Reddick. They got that dirt track background experience. Darlington is practically half of a dirt track. It's got the, the beachy sand, the South Carolina air. The high line works here. I'd be curious to see what Reddick's finish was in the spring had that race been 100 miles longer, like it is this Sunday. I could see taking a shot 30-1. Kurt Busch is another one in there, but I don't know about an outright win. We'll have to talk more about Kurt Busch if you want some place bets, even though you just pick winners. But, we'll see. Kurt Busch makes an appearance in the article, too. How's that? I'll say that. We'll tease it.
So we got into this episode, the Highline episode. I got my Reddick hat on. You got the Larson shirt on. I mean, what else can we name it at that point? All right, now we got our long shots.
Calling our shots.
Now we got our long shots here. Austin Dillon, the guy who just missed out on the playoffs, he's at 50-1. Eric Almirola, he's in the playoffs, 60-1. Ross Chastain and Maddie B, 70-1. Chris Buescher, 100-1. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Daniel Suarez, Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace, Cole Custer, Chase Briscoe, 150-1. Ryan Newman at 200-1 with Michael McDowell. Ryan Preece, 300-1. Corey LaJoie, 400-1. Anthony Alfredo, 500-1 with Justin Haley. And with the rest, we can just skip because we're not talking
Quinn Houff, 100-1, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, Cody Ware, no, I think it's 1,000-1.
Cody Ware, 1,000-1. Yep, they're all down there.
Like I said, if you're really thinking about betting Cody Ware, just Venmo me your money because that'd be smarter. But long shots you like. Let's go.
I mean, not a whole lot. I'm going to be completely honest with you. How many times can you recall that since NASCAR switched to the current playoff format has a non-playoff driver won a race? Kyle Busch won Texas.
He was in the chase before then.
He was in the chase, but he was out at that point. So I don't know if you count that or not. But in terms of not making it at all, I think there's only like one time where a non-playoff driver that season won one of the 10 races that are a part of the chase. And that's basically what you've got here with the long shots. Unless you're looking to take a flyer on Eric Almirola or Michael McDowell, who, I love Michael McDowell. If he advances to the round of 12, I've told you before the show, that'll just, it'll make my season. I'd love to see him do it. It's an uphill battle for sure. He was outside of the top 20. He might have been outside the top 25 even in the spring race here. And Almirola, SHR, there's too many question marks there to really get excited, even at 60-1, I believe you said his price was. So I have no long shot. I straight up don't. Would you take a flyer on any of those guys? Or
maybe Austin Dillon. Look at what happened a year ago. Austin Dillon, another lap, and Harvick might have lost that race.
Well, so here's my problem with Austin Dillon, right? Tyler Reddick's his teammate. Tyler Reddick's in the playoffs. Austin Dillon's not. I have the same problem with Ross Chastain. These 2-car teams, one driver's in, one driver's out. That means more resources, more time.
They're going to try to push him to the other one.
Go to Tyler Reddick is going to go to Kurt Busch over the 42 and the 3. I said that backwards, the 3 and the 42. Their respective teammates. I think Austin Dillon and Ross Chastain are prime candidates to actually regress in performance for the remainder of the season, or at least so long as Reddick and Reddick and Busch are alive in the playoffs. Those are bet against for me.
I mean,
you can call me crazy, but
I understand.
That's my thought process.
I understand what you're trying to say there, but I still think Pop's still going to put just as much into the 3 as he is the 8.
That's true. There is a little familial bias there with RCR. Good point.
And it's not like Austin Dillon's going to be like, yep, we're all done. We can't win a championship. No, he's going to every driver's going to go out there and be like, yeah, we want to earn more. We need everything we can get here. We want that money. So
I could see that my handicapping angle that I just laid out, where these two-car teams, one gets more resources than the other, the car that's in the playoffs. I think that is definitely a stronger angle to take for Kurt Busch and Ross Chastain with Chip Ganassi. You got multiple layers here, right? This is Chip Ganassi's final year in NASCAR. They want to go out a winner. Kurt Busch is a veteran. How many more times is he going to do this? How many more times is he going to have a shot to drive for a championship? We don't know. Obviously, 23-11 next year. That's a young team still. And like you said, Austin Dillon is Childress's grandson and what have you. So I think it is a stronger angle for CGR with Kurt Busch, but I'm still weary of it, I guess. And I don't know, 50-1 for a non-playoff driver. Like Austin Dillon, I don't know.
Dollar in a dream. Dollar in a dream.
I guess I'll just roll with I don't know, BJ McLeod. He's hot, top 10 last week. We'll go there. I don't have a long shot.
All right, but there's a point I want to bring up. This has nothing to do with what we just talked about, but it's something I thought about a lot this week. So you have GT Doherty. We talked about earlier. They're going down to one car. Who do you keep? Do you keep Preece? Who? Okay, let's not look at it that way. Do you keep a guy who could win on the tapered spacer tracks, or do you keep a guy who's more consistent? And I shouldn't say that one's more consistent, the other one has more. Just hypothetical, who would you keep in this day and age?
Well, I'm curious to know who you're suggesting can win on the tapered spacer tracks, because I think they both can. I think they're both really good at it. But I would go with consistency. I'd rather be sound across the board than have a flyer shot in
I'm the opposite.
3 races a year to get into the postseason. I don't know. That's just me, but like, are you dogging one of these guys on super speedways here? What's this?
No, it's just a hypothetical because I was like, something. You want a guy who's going to make the playoffs. One of these, you're not making the playoffs on points. More than likely, you're not making the playoffs on points. Why not throw something at the wall and hope it sticks? And go with the guy.
We don't know what's ahead with the next gen, though.
We don't.
Next gen car, you're shrinking down into one team. You're going to have more resources behind one car. I mean, I get what you're saying, but like I said, I feel like if Stenhouse had a little more juice in there this year, they're right on the playoff bubble. Like they were still, in contention down the stretch before we got those new winners, and it kind of upset the cut line. So
if every car had a little more juice, they would have a win. It's just
no, because only one car can win a race, and there's only 26 races.
Well, guess what? We would have had probably 26 more winners then. How about that? Is that what we want to hear?
I mean, I think the people want to hear more about Southern 500 betting, but
yeah, I know. I was getting there, but you wouldn't let me get back. Okay.
So I never got you off track to begin with. But
traditions. We have Group F. Chase Briscoe.
Well, you're not going to talk about top 3, top 10. Look at all these stuff here.
We are running over on time, and you want to
I
go
will
back
throw out some names to watch. I guess we talked. Yeah, we talked about some driver stats. I gave you like the Kevin Harvicks, the Kyle Larsons, the guys who drive here, drive well here. Kevin Harvick, depends on how bold you want to get. Top 5's plus 145 right now as we speak at DraftKings. Top 3's plus 290. So you're looking at plus money on a top 5 finish, and go back last 10 races. Kevin Harvick has been in the top 5, 8 of those races, and he was just missed this spring. I don't know how you pass that up. Plus 290 for a top 3. That might be getting greedy considering the season. I don't know depends on how bold you want to get there, I guess. William Byron's 2-1 for a top 5. Kind of like that number. Over to the top 10s. Tyler Reddick plus 130. Kurt Busch is plus 120 as we sit. Looking down a little further, Eric Jones maybe a flyer on the top 10 at 6-1. But I think in terms of a top 20, you have to lay. So I don't know if you're necessarily looking to do that, but Eric Jones minus 120 for a top 20 finish. 2 other guys further down that I could look at there and potentially get behind. Chase Briscoe plus 110 for a top 20. Michael McDowell, he's in the playoffs. I know this isn't his best track, but it's all hands on deck at this point. Plus 120. I think I could get behind that for Michael McDowell this week.
We also
on the
have
head-to-heads and groups. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, driver props. Let's see who is a head-to-head you want to bring up here.
Just shoot one at me. How's that? I put you on the spot every other week, so put me on the spot with one. I didn't really have a favorite one when I was going through it earlier. So.
Maddie B versus Ross Chastain. Your boy.
What are the odds, sir?
Maddie D minus 115 to Ross Chastain minus 105.
And you set me up for this one to go against Ross Chastain. And I think I'm going to have to. Matt DiBenedetto is still driving for his job. He doesn't run well here, but neither does Ross Chastain. You mentioned DiBenedetto 20-point-something average finish here. Chastain, it's only 4 starts at the Cup level, average finish of 25th, 15th in the spring. And like I said, Chip Ganassi's putting more power into Kurt Busch. They're going for a championship. I think that hurts the 42. Going with Maddie D. He still needs a ride. Chastain's all set.
I'm going with Chastain. I believe if you look at that 25 point something for Chastain, what equipment was he in? Because all but one was not Chip.
15th in the spring. That's not great either.
It's not great, but I still think it's better than what Maddie D's going to do.
19th in the spring. So I don't know. Maddie D's driving for a job, man.
He's been driving for a job all year. What has it done for him so far?
I mean, why don't you ask Chase Elliott?
What does that have to do with that?
Have a job, if not for Chase Elliott's little deal last week. So
what does that have to do with the price of eggs?
that
I gotta
price of eggs.
Yeah, I'll tell you about that later. It's just something my grandpa kept telling me. Oh, when he was up. Okay, Group F. Group F.
Group F.
Group F.
Are there any other higher groups you're looking at, or at all, or
no? We always
find interesting.
We always look at Group F. It's tradition. Come on, you should know me by now.
F, well, we always do like one, and then we do Group F.
All right, let's see here. Okay, Group C.
Oh.
Christopher Bell plus 250, Tyler Reddick plus 250, Austin Dillon plus 275, Maddie D plus 300. I think I know where we're both going.
Yeah, Tyler Reddick, great. Like, gave him out his long shot to win. He's in the playoffs. So is Christopher Bell. Tyler Reddick has a stronger history at Darlington. These other 2 drivers are not in the playoff. Dillon, there's a chance he's negatively impacted in terms of resources at Reddick's. In favor of Reddick, given they're both from the same team. And DiBenedetto, we've talked ad nauseum about how he sucks here, even though I just went with him in a matchup over my boy Ross Chastain, because I'm still bitter that we're not in the playoff. But yeah, Tyler Reddick plus 250. That one made the article. So interesting that you picked it out from the board too. Kind of thinking along the same lines.
Yeah, that was a bad one to pick, I think. And I don't see Harvick on the board at all. So I'm actually going to skip Group F because I think that wouldn't be a tough one.
Group F?
Yeah, we're going to go Group E. So, Mr. Daniel Suarez at plus 250. Eric Jones plus 275. Bubba Wallace plus 280. Cole Custer plus 300.
This one is interesting. I'd be curious to see. So, Bubba Wallace, Cole Custer, and Daniel Suarez all have average finishes for their Cup careers of 24.3 or worse at Darlington. I don't know how, numbers-wise, you don't go with Eric Jones here at plus 275. The other one, I guess if I weren't to go with Eric Jones, I would look to go with Bubba. And that is just because of the advantage it has seemed that the Chevys and the Toyotas have had running this package this year. So I'd look at the two middle guys there, plus 275 or plus 280. What do you I don't know. You think I'm crazy?
I like Eric in this one. I feel like he's probably the one who could get to the front better. Maybe get a top 10. I will see it at Cole Custer. Bubba, maybe he might need a little more practice here. But
yeah, I'm pulling up the Goodyear 400 real quick just because I want to see it. We know Jones was 18th, and that would have won this group. Bubba 21st, Suarez 23rd, Cole Custer. That was the race he wrecked out and was like folded in half. Yeah, that car was shot.
Oh yeah, Eric hit
the wall there. So, yep. So yeah, I think it's Jones or Bubba, one or the other. It just depends on how you feel about 2311, maybe carrying a little momentum after their solid Daytona run. They've had a full season now, well, close to a full season to improve and whatnot from where they were in the spring. So that's just kind of where I'm looking there. But numbers wise, you have to go with Eric Jones, right?
I think there's two things we forgot to mention either this week or last week. Did we mention Kurt Busch of 2311?
No, because it happened after I was in Florida. So
okay,
it was after the show.
So more news and notes as we were about to get off. Kurt Busch to 2311, he will take over the 45, and as revealed in the little video, they are moving the car number up. Thoughts?
45, right?
Yeah, 45. What'd I say?
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy Kurt Busch is sticking around. I don't think I, for 1 second, thought he was done, as the video seemed to suggest a lot of people did. I don't know what those people were thinking, but Kurt Busch is back. Big power move here for 2311. Now, hopefully, Denny Hamlin will be a better owner than he is boyfriend, it looks like. So, but I'm happy for Kurt. And I think the other underlying thing here for me is the pressure is now suddenly on Bubba Wallace a little more, maybe, to perform. And, if Kurt Busch goes out and wins a race or two next year, I don't want to spell doom on anyone, but do questions start arising about Bubba's driving abilities, and how long will Michael Jordan put up with a guy who doesn't necessarily win races? So, add a little fuel to the fire there. Why not?
I'm going to try to do this as quick as possible because there's multiple things we need to get through here. But like I told you back at Watkins Glen, this is the perfect thing for Kurt Busch. I should say Kurt Busch, but for 2311. You want a guy who has been through the ringer with controversial stuff. Why not bring in a guy like Kurt Busch? Go look at what he did. Kurt Busch Rageaholic, a perfect YouTube video, tells you what happened from the beginning of Kurt to 2012-ish and how he's changed a lot. And why not bring in a guy for Bubba, where Bubba he's gotten himself, I shouldn't say he's gotten it, but he's been the center of attention a lot. Whether by his doing or by not. And then for the numbers, I'm not a fan of the way that the car looked. It looked dumb. It didn't. Agreed. They said it's for more sponsorship, but they didn't do. Monster didn't do anything with the little quarter panel they did. There's no, just so stupid. It's what like a NASCAR YouTuber said. It's a short-term Band-Aid that's gonna cause long-term results, and the results being many fans are gonna be turned away. I'm not. I'll still be here, but I'm gonna complain.
Yeah, I get it. I will agree 100% that the car didn't exactly look that great, but we'll see. Maybe they'll change it a little bit, little tweaks.
All right, I'm ready to kick.
They still got that sick DraftKings scheme that they throw on the 23 every now and then. So we got to give 2311 a little credit for that one.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to close it out? Or do you want me to close it out? It's been over an hour.
Yeah. Sure. So follow Burnt Rubber Racing, the podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, follow on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts. We are everywhere. The show is on Twitter. The Twitter account is still very slow going, but things are changing. We're getting into playoff mode, like we said. So at Burnt Rub Racing, though, on Twitter. McAdoo is also on Twitter at ZT McAdoo. I'm coming back to Twitter eventually. I'll let you know where I'm at.
Stay off. It's not a place you want to be. It's just.
Oh, well, I know how to control, what I see on there a little better. And, I know, you just got to know the limits. That's all when you're dealing with stuff like that. But you got to do it for the brand. What can I say? Who am I kidding? My brand, seriously. Burnt Rubber Racing, though, that's the brand you need to know. Follow, subscribe, check out all our stuff, flurrysports.org, the little NASCAR section. We've broken down this Cookout Southern 500 in just about every way, shape, and form. DFS and betting advice will be coming, posted in the near future. After recording here on this Friday, I'm saying that, so be sure to check those out. And check out Zach's playoff predictions, too. We have the championship futures odds in there. So if you are looking to make a last-minute futures bet before the playoffs begin, you can break those down as well. There are still some names with value. I'll just throw a couple of those out as we get off here. I still like Martin Truex hanging around at 7-1. I still like William Byron hanging around the 14-1 range. Kind of the same guys we were looking at last week because the odds didn't really move that much. These guys were already locked in. But I have tickets myself. Futures tickets on Truex and Byron at prices not a whole lot longer than those because I bet him middle of the season. Do not bet Kyle Larson at plus 240 to win the championship. There are better things to do with your money. If anything, just bet him to win a race every round or every race, and you'll probably profit more because he's going to win at least one or two races in the playoffs. And I think it starts this week. So,
yeah, what he said. So that'll do it for us at Burnt Rubber Racing. See you next time.
All right, take care.